What's up, everyone? In this video, we're going to be talking about the biggest things you need to know that happened in the stock market today and what we have brewing for tomorrow. There were a handful of stocks that really exploded to the upside today, and there are a couple key things that you definitely need to know before we head into the trading day tomorrow. Make sure to stick with us all the way to the end of today's video, as at the end, we have a $1.18 million trade, and it's looking pretty good. Besides that, Tom, let's get right into today's episode.
Yeah, Mike, the market did pretty well today. The SPY actually gapped up early on, and we actually got some pretty nice movement, ended up closing up 0.78%, which is nothing crazy. Over the past year, the average percent rise has been 0.95%, so it was still a pretty choppy, slow day, but at least we did get some upwards movement, and it really helped some of these other stocks in the market start to rise up. I saw GameStop was flying up this morning after earnings yesterday. AI was up after their earnings yesterday as well. Then we have a ton of stocks across the market, like some of these growth stocks like DraftKings blasting up. Square was moving. NVIDIA was running. So we had a lot of stocks starting to push back to the upside, which is fantastic. And we got a lot of great price action today that we were able to play off of. But Mike, there is a lot of big information for tomorrow. People keep asking about what is on the schedule for tomorrow. We have PPI data 1 hour before market open. This could end up affecting the SPY in a pretty big way. And then a little bit after open, we do have the Michigan consumer sentiment coming in at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So be ready for these in the morning. I think that could end up influencing the SPY a little bit, which it was actually nice to see the SPY hold up today. So if those numbers are south, we could end up tanking back down, but I'm pretty confident, Mike. You know, the SPY had a pretty good close, and it looks like 395 is holding up as decent support here.
Here we go. Yeah, 395 has definitely been a key level over the past week and even over the past couple of weeks, and especially today as you just circled on the chart. But Tom, I want to cover something on the heat map. So as we can see today on the heat map, for the most part, it was positive. There were a couple stocks in the red, but there was just one stock that really stood out to me today, at least, and that's NVIDIA. That thing rocketed to the upside today with basically no news. The stock was up over 6%, and intraday, that thing was a powerhouse. And I'm telling you, like, I was looking through the news, I was looking through Thinkorswim, CNBC, Twitter, and I couldn't find anything major. So it really looks like we just had like a resistance break here, and it was just like a kind of like a continuous momentum cycle, and it just blasted to the upside. Like, other chip stocks did good today, but nowhere near the 6.5% that NVIDIA had.
Yeah, exactly. AMD was almost very flat today, almost no movement. Qualcomm did move up a little bit more along with MU, but you're right. NVIDIA had a very explosive day. And, you know, even though MU and Qualcomm ran up, most of that movement was right at open. NVIDIA had that huge extension back to the upside there and closed up all the way at that high of day, like right at close. So very explosive for NVIDIA. That was a very nice recovery and move back to the upside, Mike. And it's almost back up to a huge resistance here, right around 173. So I'm going to really keep watching NVIDIA. If we could keep breaking out over the next couple days, that would be fantastic. Like you said, Mike, there was no news, but I figured this is really worth covering. It's one of the more popular stocks out there. And when this thing starts to rip, it really starts to run. And if we look at it on the daily chart, you know, it seems pretty overextended over the past month. You know, that is actually a pretty big move up. It had lows all the way down around 108. Now we're all the way up around 172. So that is a very nice uptrend, but it does seem like that momentum staying here. And if the SPY stays positive, we might see that big break above 173, like I said. And if we do end up breaking, Mike, I mean, who knows? It looks like the next major resistance is all the way up around 180.
There we go. You know, NVIDIA has a long history of great moves. This one's pretty nice to trade in either direction because it normally just moves in a good way where, you know, it's just easy to, not easy to trade, but it's easier than some other stocks. And then the options are pretty liquid as well. So that's awesome. But Tom, while NVIDIA didn't really move off of news, there was one stock that definitely did, and that is Activision, ticker symbol ATVI. We had some news come out today how the FTC is suing Microsoft with their potential Activision deal. For those of you who don't know, basically Microsoft has been set to acquire Activision Blizzard, the company who, leads the Call of Duty franchise and other games. And basically earlier this year, Microsoft was set to buy Activision Blizzard for around $69 billion, which equates to a share price on Activision of around $95 per share. Activision stock right now is at like 75. So if the deal does go through, that's huge potential for profit. But at the same time, it looks like this deal might not go through. So, Tom, fill us in.
Yeah, exactly. The deal might not happen. It looks like the FTC voted 3-1 to issue a complaint against this and obviously sue them, like we're saying, Mike. So it seems pretty big. The deal might not end up going through. And you know what really worries me here is, like whenever we had the Twitter deal going through, Twitter was kind of staying closer to $54.20. It might have went up and down a little bit, but for the most part, it was fairly close to $54.20, especially during all those times with Elon Musk and everything like that. Activision, we would have to be, like it says there, an average price of $95 a share. I'm highlighting this on the chart just to show you guys how big of an arbitrage opportunity there is if this deal does go through. You could pick up the shares right now for around $74, $75, and then they might pay you $95 if the deal happens. But if this deal gets blocked, who knows where Activision stock could go? It could end up tanking down. It could stay flat. It's very tough to say, but I would say, Mike, it might end up falling, obviously. And we did see it go down with that news today. So that is a pretty big thing to watch. If the FTC does block this deal, that will be pretty bad. Personally, Mike, my opinion is that FTC, in my opinion, is almost doing a good thing. Microsoft is a huge corporation. In my opinion, if they acquired Activision, that would be pretty bad for the competitiveness of the overall market, especially in the gaming sector and industries like that, because Microsoft owns Xbox. And as we know, Activision is the creator of Call of Duty, Overwatch, and a lot of these other huge games that could end up skewing maybe the competitiveness of the market. So that's just my opinion on it, Mike. But overall, it seems pretty crazy for Activision stock.
Exactly. So I know originally this Activision and Microsoft deal was set to close in June of 2023, but just like you said, Tom, there's such a wide gap between the current price of Activision and the buyout price, So if you're someone who really thinks this deal will go through and you're confident with it, you can buy Activision stock right now. And if it goes through, that would be a huge profit. At the same time, though, if it doesn't, Activision stock will likely take a beating. So it's an interesting stock. We definitely wanted to cover it because especially the news came out today. So keep it on your watch list going forward. But Tom, we also had some news with Disney today. Fill us in.
Yeah, Disney had some pretty big news, and I was actually expecting their stock to maybe move a little bit more off of this. So keep your eyes on Disney over the next few days. It is very low right now, and I feel like that this news could possibly make them pop up. But the big news, Mike, is that they launched their Disney Plus new ad tier, and this could end up being pretty big for them. They're saying that they expect this to generate anywhere from around $500 million up to $1 billion in its first year of operation. But while it does say that that's only $500 million to $1 billion in its first year of operation, I believe, Mike, that the ad generated tier might also drive like new customers into Disney Plus and stuff like that. So it's good to see them maybe offering this lower priced option for people. And overall, it's good because then obviously they make advertising money and stuff like that from this as well. You can see this is exactly what the pricing is. So they have the basic with ads platform for $7.99 a month, or you have the premium with no ads, which also obviously you can download to watch on the go, and you have ad-free streaming for $10.99 a month. So it's only $3 more, Mike. Honestly, if I was going to pay this one, I would almost fork out the extra $3 to pay this one, if I'm being honest.
Exactly. So it's interesting. Disney stock is a stock that I plan on holding for the long term at this level. Right now, it's lingering right around like $92.50. What's kind of interesting about Disney stock is that it is actually at the point that it was at like when the pandemic was really going in March of 2020. So basically, it's weird in the sense of like right now Disney has all their parks open. Their Disney Plus is doing pretty good. Their stock is pretty low, but like a year ago now, and like even like a year and a half ago, some of their parks were still closed and they weren't doing as good with Disney Plus, but the stock was almost double. You know what I mean? So it's definitely interesting in that sense, but at this price point, I do like Disney shares.
Yeah, I really love shares at this price point, and we're also on a major support. If we see on this daily chart, this support here at $90 is huge for the past, even over the past 7 to 8 months, and even going back all the way to like 2015, 2016. Disney has had a ton of bounces off of this area as well, which we've talked about a lot also, but it's very nice to see it bouncing right on that support again. Definitely keep this on the radar. I feel like this could be a very explosive stock if we see a nice bounce, especially with the news coming out. Like I said, Mike, I was kind of expecting this to help make Disney stock explode intraday today, but it was kind of lackluster. You know, Disney was actually very flat, kind of like yesterday, almost like the overall market. It kind of just moved like SPY, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tom, I want to talk about some setups for tomorrow. One of my favorite ones is actually Roblox. So RBLX. It's at the crucial $30 support right now, and it has just like a good risk reward setup for the short term. Like I said, it's at that crucial $30 support. It has a pretty nice history of having some volatile moves, which is good for short term trading. And it finished up around 4% today. So I definitely like the risk reward ratio, and it's on my watch list tomorrow for a potential like upside play.
Yeah, that does look pretty good. It had a lot of momentum. It had a nice close today, very bullish. It almost reminds me of like that close it had on Wednesday, November 30th, a couple weeks ago. Then we had a very nice explosive push back up to around maybe 33.50 to 34 over those next couple days. So, you know, if we end up popping up another point and a half, that would make for some really good trading. So keep it on the radar. I like this one too, Mike. And look at this little intraday resistance here, right at 32. That looks like a pretty good resistance to play. So I love that one. Another one that I love, Mike, which we both love, which we talked about a lot, is DraftKings. That stock is up 5.11% today, and it's almost back up to the 1475 resistance here in the short term. So I've had 1475 on my chart here for the past couple weeks, and it was interesting to me how it ran right up there and touched it today, being the high of day, and it fell right back down. If I do see these growth stocks continue up tomorrow, DraftKings will definitely be on my watch list. It was one of the better movers on my watch list today anyways, Mike, up 5%, definitely up towards the top. And like I said, sometimes this thing gets explosive, and you know, it's been looking pretty good on the daily chart lately. It's been kind of holding its ground a lot around here.
There we go. Another one I'm watching is Zoom. So ticker symbol ZM. It's actually at the lowest point since COVID. So this stock took a beating over the past couple years. It exploded initially when COVID started, and it's just been like one giant roller coaster. Zoom does usually have good moves, but lately it's been kind of slow. It is at its low since COVID, like I said. So I am watching it for a potential bounce back up. I think it definitely has a great risk reward situation here. It has a lot of room to the upside, and even if the breakout does fail, I feel like you could justify the risk playing the setup.
Yeah, me too. You know, it does look pretty good. There's a nice support there. We're back above 70, and I do feel like at least in the short term, we could get a nice little pop back up. I like it for the longer term too, especially if you guys are comfortable buying and holding some of these growth stocks. I feel like it's a good thing for that too. But even in the short term, a lot of momentum back up. I think it's pretty explosive. And yeah, I know Zoom's one of our favorites, Mike. I know a lot of growth stocks were popping today. So once again, kind of like the DraftKings play, if these growth stocks continue, Zoom should be a pretty good one that might end up popping up. And I love that daily chart of Zoom right now. It's looking so good down around support. My second one is also a kind of like a momentum play here, Mike, which is Moderna. Moderna and Pfizer have both been on a pretty good uptrend over the past month. Pfizer ran up so much today, I just can't call it out. But Moderna is almost up to a huge resistance. And I think if we start breaking above 190 right here, we could get a big push up to around 200 and then possibly even higher over the next couple weeks. So I like this one, Mike. It's been in this range for a long time. And if we do finally break it, we might get that very explosive move up. So keep it on the radar. Really looking for that resistance to break.
Sounds good. Well, it is now time for the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have SQ to the upside.
Yeah, Square, very nice move today. I'm glad this one's recovering up here, Mike. This is good to see. Go ahead and make them break above 64, which they almost had a nice triple top there, right around like 63.50 to 63.70. So really watch 64.
Sounds good. With the next one, we have AMZN also to the upside.
I thought you were going to say AMD at first, but there we go with Amazon. Really nice recovery, 2.14%. Go ahead and make them break out above 91. They also double top there today.
Alrighty. Then with the last one, we have META, but we need both directions for it.
Yeah, so Meta, it's kind of in a bit of a range here. Let me get my horizontal ray. So if we move to the upside, go ahead and break out above 116.50. If we break that, I think we could see a nice push maybe up to 117.50 or even 118.50. If we end up falling down below 114.50, then watch for a move down. I do like that little range there today, Mike. I think we could definitely make a play off that.
Sounds good. So we're watching Meta, Amazon, and Square for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And then with that Meta setup, we also have a downside level. So make sure to keep that in mind. But it is now time for the $1.18 million trade from today. In this example, in this trade, I should say, we are looking at SE. So SE is up 5% today. It's a tech giant in Singapore. Basically, we had $1.18 million put into the 75 strike call options that expire on January 20th of 2023. Basically, for those of you who don't trade options, we have some smart money trader, whether it be a hedge fund, insider, or institution, betting that SE stock will rise to a bare minimum of $75 per share by January 20th of 2023. So obviously this is a bullish setup. The higher the stock goes, the better it will be for this trade. In my opinion, it's like a high risk, high reward play, but I like it.
I really like it, Mike. I think this is one of the more bullish setups that we've seen here in a long time, and I have a few reasons for this. I think that this support down here, right around $53, is awesome. We've seen a ton of bounces right on this level, and once again, just now, we confirmed off of that, and we're looking pretty bullish back to the upside. If we get another green candle tomorrow, that would be even more confirmation to me. I feel like we could definitely start a kind of extending up here, kind of like what I'm drawing out. We've been in this bottom range for a long time. That support is pretty big, and I love this daily setup, Mike. And to see the calls, to see them putting 1.1 million into the 75 calls is pretty good. I will say, Mike, the 75 calls are a little bit more out of the money than I usually like to see on unusual options like this, but that does almost give me some confidence, because what I do like is how SE had this huge move back in August. And I kind of feel like that if we start to almost fill that gap back to the upside, we could easily get to 75 or possibly even 80 plus if we start to fill that. So I think that's a pretty unique thing there. And I do like that as far as, 75 not worrying me too much. So it does worry me, but I do think that it does seem plausible that they would be longing it.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat as you. I got a little bit worried at first because the calls were out of the money, but when you look at it, it's like when you zoom in closely, it's like it seems out of the money, like by a decent amount, but when you zoom out, you realize that 75 isn't that far away. So, right? It's interesting, but I do like this setup as well. And guys, following smart money trades is one of my favorite ways / methods in the market. It's super useful seeing what hedge funds or institutions are doing. And a lot of times the trades work very well. Tom and I were just looking at a trade from today with MLCO. We talked about this stock just like a couple days ago or like last week. Basically, what ended up happening is $1.77 million were put into the 10 strike call options for January 20th of 2023. We talked about this like a week ago or a little bit over than that. And the call options went from $37 all the way up to $262 each. That's an insane run. We talked about it on November 29th. feel free to check the video from November 29th. But if you guys want to get access to the same trades we talk about, whether it be MLCO or any other hedge fund trade, check out that first link in the description and the comments down below to join the Discord. You'll get access to these plays on the same day that they are made, and you'll get access to many, many other features like daily options alerts, swing trades, custom bots, access to talk with Tom and myself all day long. It's an awesome community, and in the worst case scenario, you can cancel at any time. But either way, definitely check it out. It's going to be that first link in the description and the comments down below. Following these trades, especially like the big money ones, are pretty awesome. But Tom, for tomorrow, we have a big day. The stock market's been consolidating a decent amount this week, but we have some key economic data set to release.
Yeah, we really do. Don't forget about that, guys. I know that there's a lot of amazing movement right now in the stock market. A lot of stocks were moving up, and even the SPY was pretty good today, but that could all change tomorrow if these numbers come in worse than expected. So be ready for that. We need that PPI to come in as low as possible. So hopefully it comes in right around, well, honestly, the forecast shows it jumping up a little bit, Mike. Hopefully it comes in even lower than that, but yeah, the market's been looking good. I really like that 395 support on SPY here. And I do feel like that there are some very good opportunities right now. I do love that trade on SE. I even love the way that this thing closed up around its highs today. There's a big resistance around like 61.15. You might be able to even day trade this above tomorrow. And yeah, like a lot of stocks are setting up like this. It's not just SE. We even talked about some amazing ones, Mike, like for example, Roblox, they had another similar setup like that today, and DraftKings both. I mean, everything almost looks pretty explosive in the growth sector.
Let's go. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We post all the time, and when you subscribe, you will see our videos more often. We also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Krish S. Thank you so much for being an awesome member of the Discord community so far, and thank you so much for commenting on the YouTube videos. Tom and I really appreciate it, and it's awesome to have you in the chat. Besides that, guys, make sure to check out this video on the screen right now. December is set to be a historic end to the year. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Definitely check out the video. Things are about to heat up very quickly in the market.